Hi everyone, it's Jacqueline. So today we're going to be talking about IB history. More specifically, we're going to be talking about how to write a body paragraph. So that's applicable to all standard level and higher level IB history students, especially for the essay writing papers. Paper 2 for standard level and higher level, and paper 3 for higher level students. Okay, so first of all, we need to think about the structure of a body paragraph. And the simple structure to follow is the Peel approach, P-E-E-L or P-E-A-L. So the P here stands for the point or the topic sentence. The E, the first E, stands for the evidence. The second E or the A stands for evaluation or analysis. And then the final L stands for link. Okay, so if you structure your body paragraphs this way, it's an effective structure. It's going to help with the clarity of your body paragraph. So first of all, let's talk about the topic sentence or the point that you're going to make. So a topic sentence is just the name that's given to the first sentence of each of your body paragraphs. Every body paragraph must have a topic sentence. Your topic sentence should make clear what your argument in the paragraph should be, or, well, what the argument in your paragraph will be. So it has to make your argument clear. And it should also be directly related to the question and to your thesis. Okay, so 3 things to remember. Your topic sentence has to make an argument, and it must be directly related to the question, and it must be related to your thesis. So let's have a look at a sample topic sentence. Mao's policies towards women were radical and met with some major successes. However, they cannot be considered to have been entirely successful. Okay, so I already know that in this paragraph, the argument is going to be talking about how Mao passed policies that were successful and that were radical. Now, by radical, I guess what is meant here is extreme or very different from previously. And if he was successful, then obviously there have been positive outcomes of these policies. So that's going to form the basis of the argument for this paragraph. But this paragraph is not only going to argue for the successes of Mao's policies, they're also going to argue for some limitations in terms of the success of Mao's policies related to women. Okay, so I think a clear argument is being put across in this topic sentence. The second thing is that it has to relate to the overall question. So can we work out what the overall question is from this topic sentence? And I mean, we might not be able to work it out. Sorry, the camera is moving because Kafka, my cat, has decided to use the side of the screen as a scratch pull for his mouth, for his jaw. So yes, we cannot tell exactly what the argument, we cannot tell exactly what the question is from the topic sentence, but we have a good idea of what the question is. So we know that this question is related to some authoritarian leader. It's related to authoritarian leaders. It seems to be related to their policies towards women and the extent to which they are successful. So the question is probably something like, to what extent were one authoritarian leader's policies towards women successful? So if we can work that out, that means it's a good, clear topic sentence. The final thing is that it has to be related to the thesis. So let's assume that the question is, to what extent were one authoritarian leader's policies towards women a success? So this person, their thesis is probably something along the lines of, Mao's policies towards women were, to a large extent, successful. However, they were not entirely successful. And so there we have it. You can see that if that's the thesis, it also is being addressed in this topic sentence. Okay, so yes, we've discussed that, what argument is going to be made in this paragraph, and we've discussed what the person's thesis statement may be. We don't know for certain. And also we've discussed what the overall question may be Again, even though we cannot tell for certain, we have a good idea. That means this topic sentence is doing everything it should be doing. So the second thing is the evidence. Okay, so for your evidence, it has to be appropriate and it has to be relevant to your argument. Also, it must be valid and factually correct, and it should be as specific and detailed as possible. So let's have a look at the continuation of this body paragraph about Mao's policies towards women. So this is the section of evidence that's provided. Mao was a firm believer in advancing women's rights and believed that women were an extremely important part of society, once claiming women hold up half the sky. Article 6 of the Common Programme for China, published in 1949, stated that women shall enjoy equal rights with men. Certainly, advancements were made towards equal rights, as in 1950, the CCP issued the new marriage law, which outlawed arranged marriages and gave unmarried, divorced, or widowed women the same right to property as men. Furthermore, women were given more educational opportunities than before after being given equal access to education. Equal pay was promoted for work, and the female participation in the workforce increased by 24% between 1949 and 1976. Okay, so you can see there's a lot of evidence here. Now, if you want to count through, a lot of students ask, how many pieces of evidence is the right amount for a body paragraph. This is quite an evidence-heavy body paragraph. So let's count through the evidence and I'll kind of maybe give you an idea of what the perfect number is. Not that there is a perfect number. So first of all, the first piece of evidence is the quotation from Mao, "Women hold up half the sky." The second piece of evidence is Article 6 of the Common Programme of China. The third piece of evidence is the new marriage law of 1950. The fourth piece of evidence is about equal access to education. And the fifth piece of evidence is about equal pay / the increase in participation in the workforce. So we really have kind of 5 pieces of evidence here, which is, like I said, a lot. You don't need to have 5 pieces of evidence. You're probably going to struggle time-wise if you try to present 5 pieces of evidence. So stick to somewhere, I normally say 2 to 3 pieces of evidence is sufficient. If you have 4, that's also okay. 5 is maybe a little bit too evidence heavy. So yeah, I would stick with kind of the ballpark of 2 to 3, maybe 4. So the evidence here, do they support the original point? So if we remember that the original point was about the success of Mao's policies, Mao's radical policies towards women. So certainly all of this seems to be supporting that point. We're not seeing the counter argument yet, the extent to which things were not successful, but that can come in the analysis part. So yeah, all of the evidence is supporting the original point, the main point of this body paragraph, that Mao's policies towards women were successful. And are these pieces of evidence relevant? Yeah, they all seem related to women. They all seem related to Mao's policies. Are they valid? Yes. Are they factually correct? Yes, I believe they are. Are they specific? Obviously, some of them are extremely specific, like the quotation from Mao, reference to Article 6 of the Common Programme for China, the statistic 24% increase in women in the workforce between 1949 and 76, and of course the new marriage law of 1950. Those are all really, really specific pieces of evidence. The less specific piece of evidence that's presented here is equal access to education. So, perhaps that's the one, if you are running out of time, that maybe is the piece of evidence to cut, because it's less specific, it's less detailed than all of the other evidence. And the more specific and the more detailed your evidence is, the more impressed the examiner is going to be, the higher the mark you are likely to get. Okay, so there we have the evidence. Let's move on then to talk about the evaluation or the analysis. So analysis has to be clear, coherent, and critical. different perspectives should be evaluated. So the analysis is where we're going to see that counterpoint coming in of Mao's policies towards women not being entirely successful. That's going to be demonstrating a different perspective. So let's have a look at the analysis. All of this evidence suggests that women did become far more equal with men as a result of Mao's policies. However, although laws changed to promote the advancement of women, society was slower to catch up. Ingrained prejudices towards women still existed, and despite the promotion of equal pay for work, this seldom became a reality. Furthermore, as women were encouraged to do the same heavy work as men, the role of the traditional family was undermined in society, and women found that they could no longer pursue their role as mothers, with their children often staying in communal kindergartens while they worked. Okay, so we've got a nice link there between the evidence and the analysis, and we then go straight into that kind of counter argument of, oh, his policies might have been quite successful, but they weren't entirely successful because of their implementation, or their implementation not being as successful, I suppose. The policies themselves had the potential to be successful, but society, reality, holds back the complete implementation of those policies. So that is introducing an alternative perspective. It is also, it's completing that topic sentence that we had earlier, that we saw earlier, which did introduce this idea of Mao's policies towards women not being entirely successful. And then the other question is really whether the analysis is clear, coherent, and critical. I believe that everything is quite clear here. What they are saying is clear, and it's also coherent. It is also showing the ability to think critically. Not just because it's introducing an alternative perspective, but it's showing that this student really has an awareness of the difference between passing policies or passing laws and the implementation of those laws. How, there's often kind of a gap between the passing of laws and the reality of implementing them. So that is a demonstration of critical thinking. And we did discuss this, that yes, different perspectives are evaluated here. So therefore, this analysis or evaluation is doing what it should be doing. So the final thing you have to consider to bring your body paragraph to a close structurally is the link. So your linking sentence should link back to your topic sentence and also to your thesis statement. So let's have a look at the linking sentence for this paragraph. Under Mao, then, advancements were made towards more equal rights for women. However, these advancements were slowed down by society, which was not willing to change at such a quick pace. Okay, so the two things then, does it relate back to the original topic sentence? Well, yes, it definitely does, because you can see the success side of things comes through in the words advancements were made towards more equal rights for women. And you can also see the limitation of those successes in the second part of this linking sentence, where it says, however, these advancements were slowed down by society. So it's definitely linking to the original topic sentence. We can also assume it is linking to the thesis statement, which, as we said originally, or as we said earlier, was going to be something along the lines of Mao's policies towards women were to a large extent successful. However, they were not entirely successful. And so this linking sentence definitely links to that thesis as well. So there you have it. That is basically how to structure a body paragraph effectively. And really just remember, these are the 4 key things you have to do in your body paragraph. You make a point, you present your evidence, you analyze your evidence, and then you link it back to your thesis statement and to your topic sentence. If you can do that for all of your body paragraphs, you're going to have, a good body paragraph. And of course, you build up a few body paragraphs and you get a complete essay. And that's really what you need to work towards for paper 2 and paper 3. So as usual, if you have any questions, please do comment below. If not, best of luck with your studies.